Hello and welcome to Original Soundchat, where video game music is a work of art. Each week it's our goal to help you learn about two soundtracks from the world of games, as well as the people, stories, and critical tracks behind them. My name is Joe DeVader.
And I'm Peter Spezia. We're brought to you by Anonymous Dinosaur and Rhymes with Asia. It's time to appreciate great OSTs and the games they come from without getting too bogged down in music theory. It's our 1-year anniversary, and for these special annual episodes, we've decided to team up to talk about a Super Smash Bros. Game and the 10 critical tracks that go along with it. This year, we're talking about 2008's Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Because it is our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah!
52 weeks down, 52 episodes in the bank. Episode 53 here, starting off a full new year of episodes. Thank you for sticking with the show if you've been doing so. If you're a new listener, we thank you for joining along for the ride. We plan to continue talking about these great soundtracks, these great composers. Joe, any thoughts about 1 year with Original Soundchat?
Well, we gotta go at least 2 more, but then we run out of Smash Brothers games, and so we have to violently break up right after that. And that's the roadmap that I've sort of written out for us. I am very happy with what we've done in the past year, and I'm looking very much forward to what we do from here. This show has turned out better than I even hoped it might have when I first brought the concept to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a lot of fun doing this show every week. Sometimes it gets real stressful when it's like, well, I'm going to Mexico for a week, so we better get 3 episodes recorded today. But overall, this has been a very fun experience. I've learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to learning even more.
Absolutely. Now, normally we'd talk about follow-up headlines to the composers we've talked about, but it's our 1-year show. I think we deserve a little time to just kind of bask in that a little bit before we talk about Super Smash Bros. Brawl, a very important game to both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, to be clear, normally we talk about 2 games on an episode, but yeah, we're focusing on this one. We got a critical 10, if you will, for our combined efforts. And then we have each 3 on the cutting room floor. So we'll get a good amount of music from the soundtrack. But I think Smash Brothers is special in a way because it's not your usual soundtrack. It's an amalgamation of different efforts from across Nintendo and other different types of franchises. Not just one composer or even a team. It's like a whole gargantuan effort. And that's why we want to talk about it on these special episodes.
Yeah, that's kind of the reason I figured this is perfect for year anniversaries, because Smash is sort of, since this game, Smash became we just pull in almost every composer in the Japanese industry to, just arrange songs, remix songs from across all of these different games. It's really cool, and I for one have been really looking forward to talking about it, and I even pulled together a little bit of research for this game, not to the huge, massive extent that we would usually go, but there was a bunch of interesting stuff, and obviously, I want to introduce Brawl to anybody that, if you're listening and you don't know what it is, well, let's get into it. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was originally released for the Nintendo Wii in Japan on January 31st, 2008. North America would get it about a month and a half later on March 9th, with Australia and Europe seeing their releases on June 26th and 27th, respectively. So they had to wait a good long while.
Those PAL days.
Par for the course at the time. It is the 3rd game in the Super Smash Bros. Series, following 2001's Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube. And if you don't know what Super Smash Bros. Is, really simple. It is a massive crossover fighter from Nintendo, featuring characters from all over their franchises and properties, just duking it out in one place. It originated on the Nintendo 64, and just went from there. Unlike a regular fighting game, which if you don't remember how those go, you can go back and listen to our Street Fighter V Dragon Ball FighterZ episode, where we talk about just generally how fighting games work, because both of those are traditional fighters. Instead of trying to take your opponent's health down to 0 in Super Smash Bros., every player has a percentage, a damage percentage, and the higher that percentage goes, which it increases when you get hit, the easier it is to launch you off of the ring, which is the goal in Super Smash Bros. Your goal is to either launch them or cause them to fall off of the stage and die and reset to 0 and come back if they still have lives, etc., etc. The roster of Brawl is made up of 37 playable characters from various games. In terms of veterans, meaning characters that were in either Super Smash Bros. 64 or Melee, there is Mario, Donkey Kong, Link, Samus Aran, Yoshi, Kirby, Fox McCloud, Pikachu, Luigi, Ness, Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, Princess Peach, Bowser, the Ice Climbers, Sheik, Princess Zelda, Falco Lombardi, Marth, Ganondorf, and Mr. Game & Watch. In terms of newcomers, there is Meta Knight, Pit, Zero Suit Samus, Wario, Ike, Pokemon Trainer, Diddy Kong, Lucas, King Dedede, Captain Olimar, Lucario, Rob, Toon Link, Wolf O'Donnell, and most importantly, for the first time in Smash history, 2 non-Nintendo characters were added to the roster, being Konami's Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid and Sega's Sonic the Hedgehog, which were both really big deals back in that day.
They sure were. And if you're a Smash fan and for the last minute you've been having a conniption, but Brawl had 35 characters. Zelda Sheik, Samus Zero Suit Samus.
Yep, both counted as separate characters on both counted as separate characters on the Smash Brothers site, because eventually in the next installments they would obviously become completely separate characters.
Mm-hmm.
But for that reason, I counted them both as separate characters.
Fair.
So Brawl would notably be the last entry in the Smash series to not feature downloadable content to expand its playable roster. That trend would start in Wii U and 3DS, the next installments with Mewtwo as the first DLC of Smash ever. But also it's the first Smash game to lose some of its previous roster, which is hard to remember now in a world of everyone is here. But Dr. Mario, Pichu, Young Link, Mewtwo, and Roy, who were all newcomers in Melee, by the way, are all absent from Brawl's roster. Unlike the previous 2 games in the series, Brawl actually does have a big story mode. It is the most ambitious single-player mode the series has ever had, in my opinion. World of Light comes close, but I think Subspace was a lot more ambitious. Note, ambitious does not mean good, but it's ambitious, I think. It is called the Subspace Emissary. And this mode features well-made animated cutscenes, as well as unique bosses and stages for the roster of Brawl to play around in, and it can also be played in its entirety in co-op. And Subspace Emissary takes place in a world where, when a fighter is defeated, they transform into a trophy, the famous quote being, "In this world, trophies fight." They can be revived if another fighter touches the base of said trophy. And one day, Mario and Kirby are having a friendly battle in a stadium when suddenly Meta Knight's battleship Halberd appears overhead, dropping mysterious shadow bugs that form the evil Subspace Army. Following them is the Ancient Minister, the mysterious general of the Subspace Army, who orders a bomb be placed in the stadium that, when detonated, engulfs the area into another realm called Subspace, hence the Subspace Army. What follows is a series of heroes from across the roster attempting to stop the Subspace Army from taking over the world, while the villains have their own insidious plans, largely working with the Subspace Army. And that's pretty much the best description you're going to get out of me. The story of Subspace Emissary is not really all that coherent. It's very fanfiction-y, and I'm going to be real. There's literally no way it couldn't be. It's like, we're talking about a story mode that features Pit from Kid Icarus hanging out with Mario and Mr. Game & Watch and Solid Snake. There's no way that's not going to be fan fiction quality storytelling. It's impossible.
Captain Falcon slides in, looks all cool, and then realizes he's killed a whole bunch of Pikmin, and Captain Olimar is just standing there.
That cutscene is art.
Yeah.
That cutscene is art. The scene of Lucario picking up Snake's box, also art. But do you remember how Yoshi becomes involved in Subspace Emissary? Link's just walking through the woods. He's sleeping on a stump. He wakes up. Now Yoshi's part of the team.
Big Yoshi.
That's literally all it was. So yeah, that's Subspace Emissary, which we're going to play together in like 3 years for Smasterpieces.
I can't wait.
Whenever we get there one day. And that'll actually be the first time I've replayed it since 2009 or something.
Ooh.
It's been a while. I don't remember it being very good, probably because it's not. Other notable firsts in Brawl. It is the first Smash game with online play, which is very big, even if online play in Brawl sucked even worse than online play in any other Smash game, which says something. It is also the first game to feature Stage Builder, as well as a photo mode, and it also served as the debut for the Assist Trophy item, an item that would summon a character from any of the various represented franchises and beyond to assist the summoner in battle. I described it in the outline as this item is basically a Pokeball that sometimes Waluigi comes out of.
And that's where Waluigi will stay.
Yep, he sure will, and that's where he deserves at this point. So, in most of the Smash games, and in most games in general, unused data on the disc that could imply some cut content, and in Smash's case, this data implies that Mewtwo, Roy, Dr. Mario, Toon Zelda, Toon Sheik, and Dixie Kong were planned as playable characters. The first three would actually return in future Smash games, Mewtwo, Roy, and Dr. Mario. But none of the others have ever shown up in a future title. Toon Zelda and Toon Sheik was theorized to be Tetra and her Zelda form from Wind Waker. And Dixie Kong also never became a playable character either, unfortunately. There's also an unused character data file titled pra_my. And two theories actually exist for what this character was. One is that it was meant to be a duo character, Ice Climber style of the Pokemon Plusle and Minun. This is largely no longer considered to be right because when people looked into the data, the Ice Climbers are actually both their own separate character files, Popo and Nana. So it wouldn't make sense if it was a duo character for them to just be one single file. The more likely theory that people believe is that this data is simply the remains of the brief consideration of playable Miis, which Masahiro Sakurai, the creator of Super Smash Bros., has confirmed was a consideration for a brief period, but was dropped because of worries about online bullying. Of course, Miis would become playable in the next installment.
When you couldn't even take Miis online.
Yeah. Many people theorized that this unused data was actually a sign that a DLC would be coming to Brawl, but like I said, sadly, this dream would not be realized until Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U.
And so when you hear people talk about the Forbidden Seven, it is these 7 characters.
Mm-hmm. Other characters that Sakurai has claimed were under consideration, but decided against obviously before data would have entered the game. Pac-Man. Apparently Pac-Man specifically was suggested by Miyamoto, Shigeru Miyamoto. And Sakurai was like, no, how would he even work? He's just a yellow circle with a triangle out of it. Cause I guess Sakurai just didn't know that Pac-Man had like a form with arms and legs. An Animal Crossing villager, Geno from Super Mario RPG, Blastoise, and Crystal from Star Fox Adventures. Pac-Man and Villager would become playable in the next installment, being Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. Geno has yet to make his way into a Smash game as a playable character, but he has been represented in other ways. In a Wii U and 3DS, he is a Mii costume that was downloadable at one point, and in Ultimate, he is a spirit. Blastoise was apparently originally in consideration to be part of Pokemon Trainer's team, but was ultimately replaced by Squirtle, as Sakurai figured that Squirtle would more easily be worked into a character. And Crystal was under consideration, but eventually replaced with Wolf, as he could be modeled after Fox and Falco, and therefore would take less development time to implement into the game. She would later appear as an assist trophy in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And this game is pretty much the reason why Kid Icarus Uprising exists, because it brought back Pit from Kid Icarus and brought back more interest into the character. And so he was on the list when Sakurai was given the choices of franchises that he wanted to mess with. And so that is the bulk of my research on Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So here's where I ask both of us, what are our experiences with Brawl?
Yeah, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is a very foundational game in both of our lives, both of our histories. Met a lot of people through the hype speculation for this game. It's the game that led me down the path to talk about video games into a microphone in the first place. I started my podcasting adventures back in 2007 talking about this video game. So while Super Smash Bros. Brawl is objectively a better video game, and, if I'm talking about like, a list of my favorite video games, like, Ultimate's the one that represents Super Smash Bros. I think in some way, like, Super Smash Bros. Brawl is, in a way, always going to be like the sentimental, like, favorite game of all time. If you want to just kind of like tuck it away and just talk about like how much a video game can mean to me, like disregarding what the actual content of the game is. I just think, for all of the time that I spent thinking about it, talking with others about it, meeting people, just growing a friend circle. We met because of this game. This one's like a really big deal to me, and I know to you as well.
Yeah, so I guess the story, we should probably tell the story in general. Like you said, you started a podcast in 2007 called Show Me Your News. And I stumbled upon this podcast by accident by hitting the random article button at like 2:00 in the morning on SmashWiki and downloaded the most recent episodes and gave them a listen. And that podcast continued going for a couple of years after Brawl came out in regularity. If I remember correctly, you went monthly for a little bit, but then like went back to being weekly and all that. And at one point you had a contest to be a guest on the show, and I won this contest. Don't know how, still to this day, don't understand it. I won using a video I made in Windows Movie Maker, which is probably still up somewhere on the internet, I would assume. I don't know. And that was the first time that we spoke, and we kind of just became friends from there, honestly. And that, of course, led to I have hosted a couple other shows alongside you, including like stuff like Questionably Roundtable, and I was a host on Show Me Your News for a little bit near the end of its life. Well, the end of its original life. It got rebooted when Ultimate was announced, to be fair.
Right.
That's basically led me directly here. I didn't get to play Brawl. I remember that the time leading up to Brawl, you probably have more stories than I would, because I didn't actually get to play Brawl until months after it came out. Because we didn't have a Wii yet. Brawl was the reason I wanted a Wii. And we would not get a Wii until July, June. So I might as well have been living in the PAL region at that point. And even when we did get a Wii, I didn't get to buy Brawl right away because my dad thought it wasn't his kind of game, and he didn't want to spend the money on it. So I had to wait till I had the money to spend on it. And I'm pretty sure I bought it and some other game. No, I bought it alone. I still have the original copy. I actually had it on my desk last night while putting it into a website. I would agree that in general, while it is my least favorite Smash game, from a sentimentality degree, because not only is it how I met you, it's how I met most of our like big friend group, our big online friend group, who are like some of my closest friends in the world now. And I think Ultimate might eventually top it by the time Smash Your Pieces is over, like directly as a result of that show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just Brawl was a very formative game for my life. I was in middle school when that game was announced.
Oh my gosh.
And I believe I was in high school when it came out.
I remember being in my freshman year of college when we saw that this trailer had gone online with Solid Snake being announced at the end. Like that's crazy.
I didn't know who Snake was when he was put into this game. This game is why I played Metal Gear Solid, which is now one of my favorite game series of all time. I remember waking up super early for school every morning, and the first thing I did before I even made breakfast or brushed my teeth or took a shower was check the dojo every morning.
Yeah, the Smash Brothers Dojo with Masahiro Sakurai every weekday posting some tidbit, some element from the game. It could be a new character. It could be a new song from the game. It could be a new feature. You never know what it could be. It was fascinating and one of the best bits of online pre-hype marketing for a game ever.
Mm-hmm. And I still remember my mom like getting really mad at me because she could hear me turn the computer on every morning. She'd be like, "Stop it, get off the computer and get ready for school." I'm like, "No, I gotta check now." I'm pretty sure when I started checking the dojo, when I realized the dojo existed, it was like the day after the Ice Climbers were announced. So I was fairly late on that. But yeah, I have more memories about the lead up to Brawl than I have about Brawl, which is really weird. And I don't think I can say that about any other video game in the world.
Yeah, gosh. And I even remember the lead up to the release, like when the Japanese release hit, I was at the University of Michigan, had connections to friends who had Japanese Wiis and, got a shipment of the game. And, we went to our local game store and, had a whole line of people playing, and it was a great time. And, the night before, recording a podcast episode based on that. And it was a different time when, couldn't recapture, video that well. And then the audio was lost. And, oh my gosh, so many oddities and different memories. But I think when it comes back to what the crux of this show is about video game music, Super Smash Bros. Brawl really woke us up to the idea of collecting a game soundtrack and listening to game music regularly. Obviously, playing video games before this, we were aware of the music in a video game and certain special tracks and all that, but Brawl's soundtrack was, I feel like it was unlike anything, the video game industry had ever seen. Because it was just this encyclopedia-like collection of Nintendo music.
And for me, especially, I think it's the specifically the reason why I mostly only listen to video game music now, because I had an iPod at the time, and I wanted the Brawl soundtrack on my iPod, and if I did that, literally nothing else could fit on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special soundtrack, and so I think it's very fitting that we talk about this one. And normally when we talk about a video game, we'd say, and here's the composer. We can't really do that with Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Instead, I'd like to talk about the list of arrangers that worked on this project, because a good chunk of Super Smash Bros. Brawl's soundtrack was an inclusion of the original song from the original video game that it came from. Wasn't touched. It's just the original song. Here it is, and it played on the stage. But there are plenty of songs on the soundtrack that got remixed. And yeah, it's a who's who of the Japanese composer scene at the time in 2007, 2008. And so when I rattle all of these names off and kind of mention what they are known for, a lot of these are mostly known based because Masahiro Sakurai had a blog post on this Smash Brothers Dojo website where it says, the composers. And he's just like, whoa, are we crazy for doing this? Here are all the composers that are working on the game, all the musicians.
Which the answer was yes, he was crazy for doing it.
Yeah, it was unheard of at the time. So when we're talking about the list of arrangers, I think it's important to start by mentioning that the main theme of Super Smash Bros. Brawl was composed by Nobuo Uematsu. And we've talked about Uematsu on episode 23 of the show when we talked about Final Fantasy VI. So he composed this grand orchestral theme with Latin, sung lyrics. The lyrics were supervised by Masahiro Sakurai himself. But Uematsu's inclusion was kind of an odd one-off, a special edition. Like, he didn't really do any arranging or remixing or anything like that. It was just...
And he still hasn't, weirdly enough. Like, he's one of the, 4... I've been doing a lot of research into all of the Smash composers recently, and he is one of the 4 people I can think of, for the big Japanese composers that just has done no arrangements for anything in Smash.
Interesting. Yeah, because for him, it was just it was the one and done, and it was just more the big, we got the big one. We got the top dog to do our main theme for Brawl, and that's it. But the other composers that we've discussed on the show that contributed arrangements, going in order of when we talked about them on original Soundchat here, we have Yoko Shimomura, who we talked about in episode 1 for Kingdom Hearts 2. Sakurai mentions that she does the Kingdom Hearts series. Jun Sonoe from episode 17 about Sonic Adventure 2 noted the Sonic Adventure series and Sonic Heroes. Koji Kondo, also from episode 17 about Super Mario 64, noted for the Super Mario Bros. Series and the Legend of Zelda series. Motoi Sakuraba, from episode 20 about Kid Icarus Uprising, noted for the Golden Sun series and the Mario Golf and Tennis series. Masafumi Takada, from episode 20 about Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Danganronpa was not a thing when Masahiro Sakurai was giving him credit, so he is noted for...
Oh god, it wasn't. Wow.
We're reaching a little bit back. So Takada was then known for Killer 7 and for God Hand. Hirokazu Hip Tanaka for episode 23 of the show for Super Mario Land, noted for Metroid and Dr. Mario. Yasunori Mitsuda from episode 30 about Chrono Trigger, noted for Chrono Trigger and for Xenogears. Yuka Tsujioko from episode 31 about Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, noted for the Fire Emblem series. Minako Hamano from episode 34 for The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, noted for Metroid Fusion. Noriyuki Iwadare from episode 35 for Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, and he's noted for the Grandia series. Kazumi Totaka from episode 40 about Luigi's Mansion, Totaka's noted for the Animal Crossing series and for the Yoshi series. And finally, just last episode, Yuzo Koshiro, episode 52, about ActRaiser, noted for ActRaiser and Streets of Rage. Now, that's just scratching the surface of the composers that we have talked about on this show who contributed to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. You may remember in their About sections on that show we talked about, and they also contributed to Super Smash Bros. And here are the songs that they did for Brawl. Like, that were those sections. But there are still plenty of others, and so I will continue my list. Jun Fukuda for Killer 7 and Contact. Yasufumi Fukuda for Kamaitachi no Yoru 2. Koji Hayama for Cho Aniki and Ape Escape 2. Asuka Hayazaki, who used to be known as Asuka Ota, for New Super Mario Bros. And Yoshi Touch and Go. Akihiro Honda for Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots and Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops. Arata Iyoshi for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and Beat Mania 2 DX. Yutaka Iraha for the Sylphid series. Kentaro Ishizaka didn't really have any games credited to him, but noted that he was from HAL Laboratories Inc. Kenji Ito for the Romancing Saga series and Concept Saga. Masaaki Iwasaki for Mother 3 and Chelnov, which is apparently a Sega Genesis game. Shota Kagayama, who is noted for Luminous Arc, but he would ultimately become a Pokemon composer later on. I think he's a big deal in Pokemon X and Y and going forward. But again, that wasn't a thing for Pokemon X and Y in Brawl days. Masato Koda, noted for Monster Hunter and Devil May Cry. Tsukasa Masuko for Star Force and Magical Star Sign. Toru Minagishi is noted for The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Odd, though, that he's noted in Sakurai's list of composers on the Dojo website, and yet, going through the credits of each of these songs, I couldn't find what Toru Minagishi contributed to, oddly enough. So maybe he was working on something and it got cut? Entirely possible. Seiji Momoi contributed Meteos and The Glory of Hercules 3, The Silence of Gods. Michiko Naruke composed the Wild Arms series. Takahiro Nishi, noted for the Grandia series and Project Sylphid. Kenichi Okuma, noted for the Melty Lancer series, and Welcome to Pia Carrot 3.
Sure.
Keigo Ozaki, noted for Project Sylphid. Shogo Sakai, noted for Super Smash Bros. Melee and Mother 3. Tomoko Sasaki, noted for Knights. Toshiyuki Sudo, noted for the Everybody Votes channel. Another name where, on Sakurai's list, couldn't find it listed. Also entirely possible with Minagishi and Sudo that they were just part of the team that composed Brawl's like regular music, like the different menu songs and whatnot, because that's just credited to Nintendo or HAL, not even HAL, but like just Nintendo as a whole. So no specific composers there. So entirely possible that it could have been them. Yusuke Takahama, noted for the Digital Pinball series. Hajime Wakai for the Pikmin series and Star Fox series. Kenji Yamamoto for the Super Metroid and Metroid Prime series. And Ryoji Yoshitomi for WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games. I want to note Wakai and Yamamoto specifically, composers that we'll be talking about in the upcoming weeks. So stay tuned. So yeah, a whole lot of composers. That's 39 different composers associated with the project from our account. It's a lot of people. But like I suggested, there were some songs that were cut from the Super Smash Bros. Brawl soundtrack. And it's odd that you mentioned, data on the disc that people were able to dive into and kind of read into, because the same definitely applied with music songs. Songs that were just left intact, remixes of different songs or originals that were cut for one reason or another. So you can go on YouTube and listen to these remixes and it's like, oh man, some of them are really good. So notably certain songs like the boss battle theme from Mario and Luigi, Partners in Time, Beware the Forest Mushrooms, sometimes also called Forest Maze, from Super Mario RPG. Ballad of the Windfish from The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It's such a good remix. Please look it up. It's such a good remix. I mean, you can do no wrong with that song, I think, if the recent Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening game was any indication. Type A from Yoshi's Cookie. The Loner, Falco Lombardi from Star Fox Command. Move Out from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. There's the track Ebareshimono, translates to Chosen Ones, and this is from Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, which is the first Fire Emblem game. I think it's on like the final map of that game. It's just in the code there as Ebareshi in J05. That's also part of it too, is like if you start really getting in the nitty gritty of the soundtrack, like they organize these code names based on the letter represents a franchise. So A is Mario, B Donkey Kong, C Zelda, D Metroid, E Yoshi, and go on and on. But it's interesting to see how they're all organized in this way. The battle theme for the New Age Retro Hippie from Earthbound, Sento Oni-san. This we recognized as Battlin' Frankie Fly in our Earthbound episode. It's the song that was probably cut due to licensing issues because it sounds very similar to Johnny B. Good. But that was cut from Brawl. As were the 8 Melodies theme from Mother and Smiles and Tears from Earthbound. But these tracks would come back for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS. 3DS specifically for the Magic Ant stage. So they made it. They did it. Also, the track Because I Love You from Earthbound was cut. There's also some sort of track probably inspired by one of Wario's stages in a WarioWare game that was cut. The track Radio Exercises from Animal Crossing. Also, a medley of Famicom sports game themes. The track Special Tracks from Stunt Race FX. Also, we've mentioned it before, the main theme of Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, was cut from Super Smash Bros. Brawl because of those legal reasons with Tapi Iwase and a Russian 1970s piece that this was around the time of Metal Gear Solid 4 and like, ooh, we can't include this theme in MGS4, so cut it in Brawl too. There was also a remix of the same Metal Gear Solid theme that was taken from Beatmania 3rd Mix, and so it was cut for the same reason. There were also different, like some Smash themes cut here and there, like the How to Play theme from Melee was just not included, but it's in the data. And from Sonic CD in particular, the song You Can Do Anything from the Japanese and European versions of Sonic CD. See, we got Sonic Boom, the US version of Sonic CD, but Toot Toot Sonic Warrior? Nope. Cut. Whole lot of different tracks there cut. Which one hurts the most, Joe?
I think Battlin' Frankie Fly hurts a lot, but also I'd put Ballad of the Windfish for sure. But like Battlin' Frankie Fly is really good. That's one of my favorite songs on Earthbound.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Especially if you listen to that remix of Ballad of the Windfish, it's like, oh, that would have been real nice to have in that game. It also, I love the main theme of Metal Gear Solid 2. Thinking about that in Brawl makes me very happy, and so it being cut is really sad. Also noted for the soundtrack, every character was supposed to have their own individual victory fanfare, but this really didn't come together, and it would only take until Wii U and 3DS for this to become a reality. But Meta Knight did get his own rockin' version of the Kirby theme, so not only was Meta Knight better than just every character in Brawl, he also got his own ending theme.
Speaking of ending themes and of cut content, Mewtwo is the only one that has an ending theme associated with his incomplete data. So that's really neat. So a lot of theories is that he was the furthest along, which makes sense because he's the only one that was not a clone of all of the cut characters. But yeah, in his data, there is a unique victory theme in there, which is kind of cool.
So when it comes to the 10 critical tracks, we each put our own list together and then kind of mashed them up together. Our tracks near the top got highest priority, certainly. And then came the priority of what songs did we both agree on were in the top 10, and then fleshed it out with some of the higher ones that weren't included there. And then we each have 3 on the cutting room floor. So all of our songs that we brought up as our top 10s are included in this episode one way or another. So I'm excited to talk about them. Let's start with our first song, number 10. We ranked them, so here we go. This is also a first. We normally don't rank our Critical 5 for these games, but
usually they're just mostly in the order of how they are on the album.
Or narrative reasons or something like that. So this is different. So let's say number 10 for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, we have Attack. This is sometimes called Strike or Rise to the Challenger. Different translations, different versions, what do we call it? This ended up being called Attack in game. And this is from Fire Emblem, or at least what the United States knew as Fire Emblem, the Game Boy Advance game that is more traditionally known as Fire Emblem: The Blazing Blade. This is composed, the original track at least, by Yuka Tsuchiyoko, and it's arranged by Kenji Ito. It plays on the Castle Siege stage.
This song, outside of the actual main theme of Fire Emblem, is like the first memory of Fire Emblem music that I have in my brain.
It's a really, really good song. I feel like it's perfect for a Smash battle. It gets right into it really early, and it has these brass, the melodies, the trumpets playing that is really representative of Fire Emblem. Just really, really great energy to it and kind of modernizing a Game Boy Advance song.
I think I've played the first 3 chapters of Blazing Blade, and eventually I will play the whole thing because it is Roy's game for Smash Pieces, because his actual game apparently sucks. Binding Blade is apparently not very good. And Matt didn't want to play it or make me play it, so we're playing Blazing Blade. But I've heard this song in game, actually, the original version. And I remember having a reaction to hearing it in game of hey, it's this one. This is the one. And that's the main memory I have of it. I agree that it's perfect for a Smash battle. It's a shame about the stage that it's on, because I think it's one of the least well done stages in Brawl. Because Fire Emblem just sort of, until recently, got the shaft on stages always. But I would agree that this just barely ekes out the Fire Emblem theme, because the arrangement of the Fire Emblem theme in Brawl is really, really good, make no mistake.
Oh, yeah, for sure, with the vocals and the lyrics, and yeah. That is really good. And I think it's important to note, how do we not clarify it at the top here, that these are all remixed songs.
Yes.
Very important when we're talking about this game and future anniversaries going forward. When we're talking about the Smash soundtracks, the important critical parts are the songs that got remixed. Obviously, there are plenty of great songs that were just copy-pasted into this game, the originals. But it's the new remixes and arrangements that are really having our attention.
Number 9 is one of my favorite songs in the game. Top 10, obviously, because it was in my top 10. Waluigi Pinball. So this song originally hails from Mario Kart DS, composed by Shinobu Tanaka, the original version, and this arrangement was done by Kentaro Ishizaka. It plays on the stage Mario Circuit. This song is bumpin'.
It bumps. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I do like its energy, and it's fun, especially for a Mario Kart song. But it's always a song where it's like, oh yeah, like this exists in the game, I suppose. Maybe it's because I just don't play on Mario Circuit all that often, or I don't have big Mario Kart DS memories for the original Waluigi pinball. Or maybe it's just an aspersion to Waluigi. I don't know.
See, I think part of it is, in fact, that Waluigi Pinball is my favorite track in all of Mario Kart.
Oh, okay. All right.
It is my absolute favorite track in the entire series. I wish we would get it in a console game. Please put it in a console game. The only two games it's been in are Mario Kart DS and Mario Kart 7, both handheld games. I'm very sad that it was not put in Mario Kart 8. But like, there's just this really like hectic, energetic feeling to the song, especially the part with the dun, 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 dun. I'd really like that part a lot. And as a high schooler listening to this on my iPod, this was definitely one that stood out to me pretty much all the time. And this remix makes me very happy.
Yeah, I think it's a song where it'll get stuck in your head very easily. Just da 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 da. Like it's definitely an earworm in that regard. I agree.
It's the only good thing to come out of Waluigi.
let's agree on that one for sure. Next few we both agreed were in our top 10 somewhere. Number 8 is MGS4. Theme of Love.
Which I still can't believe. This is the first time this song came out in a game, because lest we forget, Brawl predates Guns of the Patriots.
It's just incredible. There's no reason that Metal Gear Solid 4 should have been included in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, but here it is. And now granted, the MGS4 version is much more desolate, sad, lonely, wailing, but this version is made perfect for a Smash fight.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it comes from Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, original composed by Nobuko Toda, and this is arranged by Akihiro Honda. Plays on the Shadow Moses Island stage. Which
is still... It would be among my favorite stages if not for the fact that it is indeed a walk-off, but even despite being a walk-off, still one of my, like, aesthetically one of my favorite stages in the game. And that was decided before I had played Metal Gear Solid.
Mm-hmm.
That stage is great. This song is the first piece of Metal Gear music I ever heard in my life.
Whew.
And what a way to start.
What an introduction. I mean, yeah, a stage that has Metal Gear Rex, Metal Gear Ray, geckos.
The first time the geckos were in a released game. Because again, Metal Gear Solid 4 hadn't come out yet.
Just amazing. Such a good song. I think it definitely had to be here of note in the top 10.
This was definitely, I remember, because this was, of all of the songs we've talked about so far, of the 3 songs, this is the first one that was actually released as a sample on the website.
Yes.
And for a long while, probably the most impressive sample that Sakurai put up, just bar none. And I'm pretty sure this is orchestrated, isn't it? Like, this version is a fully orchestrated song, which
oh yeah,
you're not going to get a lot of in Brawl. I don't know. It's just, this is one of the more impressive arrangements, I think. It's not like in my top 5, but it's definitely, when you think of remixes in Brawl, this has to be on the list. Has to be.
For sure. It's fair when you compare it to a lot of the original songs, and it sounds like they come from MIDIs. This was a time where, obviously the data is being accessed on the disk in, these BRSTM files that can be translated into MP3s that you can listen to. So they're obviously, they're streamed, but this is definitely one of the more bombastic tracks for sure.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of bombastic and has to be on the list if we talk about Brawl, our next critical track, number 7, is Mute City. And, wow. This is originally from F-Zero, the original F-Zero. The original song was composed by Yumiko Kanki, and this version was arranged by Yasufumi Fukuda. It plays on the Port Town Aerodive stage. Wow, this song rocks. Literally.
And Smash Melee had a Mute City version, which was also pretty cool, but this is like...
This song kicks its ass.
Oh no, like we're recording better instruments, better drums, better guitar sound, just better energy. And the wailing guitar solo, it's just going to town. It's amazing.
Especially that intro with the piano and the dun-dun-dun-dun. Like, everything about this arrangement is so good.
I'm really glad that it's here on the list. I'm really glad we agree on it. It's just a fantastic piece. Port Town Aerodive, not a great stage, but
I kind of love this stage, but not because I think it's good. I love this stage because of that one part where it just drops you, and then it's the staircase sort of section, and you can see the cars coming from far away, and you have to react of oh god, they're coming. Oh no. I don't like playing on the stage, but I like playing on that one specific section of the stage.
Mm-hmm. And just F-Zero music in general is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually one of the few F-Zero songs to get a remix in Brawl, because a lot of them was just taken from X or GX. But this is such a good one. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Number 6, though, was another one that we definitely agreed had to be here, and I feel like it's the cream of the crop of those 3 here. Number 6 is Versus Ridley. And so before Ridley was in Super Smash Bros. As a playable character in Ultimate, and he was revealed in his trailer with this song, this remix of his battle theme in Super Metroid. Not just his battle theme, but one of the main boss battle themes in Super Metroid. This remix really stands out in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The original composed by Minako Hamano, which during her Link's Awakening episode when we talked about that soundtrack and her, made a note of she composed this song and how amazing that is. But this arrangement is from Yusuke Takahama, plays on the Frigate Orpheon stage.
This is another one of the songs that was and in fact, I believe there's only one other on this entire list, not counting Cutting the Floor. This is another one that was a sample on the website. And I think honestly, by the end of it, I think this was my favorite of the samples. And then the game came out, obviously, and I got more songs to enjoy. But this is the one that I went back and listened to so often. This song, again, just like Mute City before it, rocks.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one that definitely had to be on a top 10 list for sure. It's a standout from this soundtrack. It's a classic Super Metroid song. So I wonder if we end up talking about that game on this podcast, what song may appear in a Critical 5? Just a simple but classic song that really brings up this intense energy for a battle.
Oh, yeah. And this is the first thing that I ever learned about. This is probably the first time I ever heard the name Ridley for the character. Because, again, I'd never played a Metroid game. Ever. I didn't beat my first real Metroid game until last year. So, this was my first real introduction to the character of Ridley. And what an introduction it was.
Absolutely.
Next up, at number 5, possibly one of my favorite arrangements in the series, just in general. And I only appreciate it more now. Number 5 is Humoresque of a Little Dog. This is from the Mother series, specifically this version. The name comes from what we now know as Earthbound Beginnings, but this song appears in all 3 of the games in the Mother series. It is the shop theme, composed by Hirokazu Hip Tanaka, and arranged by Masato Koda. It plays on New Pork City, which is a shame, because that stage sucks.
Terrible stage.
I love this song.
Yeah, so we heard this in our Earthbound episode as Buy Something, Will Ya?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just a classic theme to that franchise. But so many good instruments at play here. Like banjo, fiddle, ukulele.
Oh, that fiddle part is so good.
It's amazing. A great arrangement. It's not one I would necessarily is very suitable for a Smash fight. But it's just so pleasant and joyful to listen to.
I think this song fits so much better on 1Et than it fits on New Pork City, and I'm so glad that now we can put it on 1Et.
Yes.
Because A, I don't want to play on New Pork City. Again, I can't state it enough. That stage sucks. And B, that stage is the drugstore. This is the shop theme. Why wasn't it on 1Et?
Yeah. Just a great piece. I think you're right. It takes some time and some distance away from Brawl and its soundtrack to really appreciate the quality here. But it's a very, very good song.
I've said it a million times. We need more banjos in video games. And this song is yet another piece of evidence to add to my list. Because wow.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sakurai obviously listened to me, because I'm pretty sure I said that before Banjo was announced.
Number 4 is an interesting representation. I think it's like the best of the selection, so bear with me when I say that number 4 is Boss Battle Song 1. obviously there are so many iterations of the Super Smash Bros. Brawl main theme of da 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 da. Like, there's going to be different interpretations on this throughout the soundtrack in all the different modes. Final Destination, Battlefield, the coin launcher.
Man, I miss the coin launcher.
I do too, actually. Better than Trophy Rush, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think this is the cream of the crop. It shows up in Subspace Emissary as a boss battle song. And this is another example where like it's composition and arrangements, copyright Nintendo HAL Laboratory Inc. Doesn't tell us who composed it or who arranged it, but okay. I just love the intensity. Like it gets right into it from the beginning. And the way it breaks down, like the dum 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 da 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 da, like oh man, I really, really enjoy this song a whole lot.
I don't remember which boss this would have been for, though. I feel like maybe, what's his name? He's in Ultimate. He's like the only Subspace boss that got brought over from Ultimate. Duan, yeah. Maybe. Because it's none of the characters from the games, because they got their own boss fights. It's not Taboo, because he got his own theme. Is it Master Hand? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's Subspace Emissary. Who cares? This song's still good, though. Like, really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just always remember it as not only a standout from the Subspace part of the game, but one of the best interpretations on that Brawl main theme.
I agree. I think this is probably my favorite version of that song in general. The original is very, very good, but like the faster pace of this song definitely does it a lot of favors, I think.
And yeah, Final Destination would be more epic per se, but
I think Final Destination goes a little too far.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it today.
I think that's a good way of putting it. So I'm happy with this one and its place on the list.
And speaking of happy with this one and its place on the list, what a masterful segue I've come up with. Number 3 is, I think, not only great for this game, but important to video game history. It is Tetris Type A. Obviously, as you might guess from the title, this song is from Tetris. Hey, throwback to last week. It was originally composed, basically it's a Russian folk song. I don't think we know who actually composed it, because it is listed as composed by Russian folk song.
Yep.
But it was arranged by the woman, the myth, the legend herself, Yoko Shimomura. And it plays on Luigi's Mansion, where it fits weirdly well.
Yeah, right? What an odd spot for it. But yeah, the strings, the whistling, sure, counts for Luigi's Mansion. The ghosts there, I get it.
I adore this song. I adore this arrangement. It's so good. The piano part, like, the violin solo in the middle of it. If I had the choice where somebody said, hey, we have a full orchestra, you can pick one song from Smash, from Brawl specifically, that this orchestra performs, this one with a bullet, 100%.
See, I'd kind of go more our number one, but we'll get there. But that's a really good, interesting choice, because it's one I usually kind of end up forgetting that, yeah, Tetris was on Luigi's Mansion. And you just think about the franchises and the different songs there, but there are some sneaky good ones that pop up in odd places. Also, like when we'll get to our cutting room floor, odd songs from franchises in strange stage choices.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure I know which one you're referring to. But yeah, it's kind of weird, like how they got songs from series that weren't represented, which is awesome. And then like very interesting to see where they figured that song would fit. Because I think this song fits very well on Luigi's Mansion. Meanwhile, the remix of Tetris Type B
doesn't.
Very much does not. I love that. I think that arrangement's great, but it does not fit on Luigi's Mansion even slightly.
I can't even think of where it would fit, honestly.
Mushroomy Kingdom, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe I can see that.
If we want to remember Mushroomy Kingdom exists, that stage also sucks. But yeah, this has always been one of my favorite arrangements in Smash. Pretty sure this is the first time I heard this theme for real.
Whoa. Okay.
Because I didn't have a Game Boy, so I didn't play Tetris. Well, I had a Game Boy. I had a Game Boy Color. I never owned Tetris on Game Boy in any way, shape, or form. Which is probably why I'm so bad at it. I didn't play as a kid. And just being in orchestra at the time, like in school, this is one where like I'd have fantasies of what if I gave this to my orchestra teacher and we played it, and I never did, and we never did. So I think that also plays a big part in it, but it's just, this arrangement is fantastic, and it helps that it was done by my favorite composer working in video games.
Mm-hmm. Number 2 on the Super Smash Bros. Brawl soundtrack. Another one that came from the Smash Bros. Dojo website. A good music sample to wake up to. This is Angel Island Zone. The original comes from the game Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and it's hodgepodge of composers, so just called composed by Sega, which the arranger, I believe, was a part of that team. So it's good that Jun Sinoue got to arrange this piece with his good old butt rock.
The only Sonic remix in all of Smash, actually, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So we, of course, talked about Jun Sinoue on the Sonic Adventure 2 soundtrack. And so to bring that guitar sound to a classic Sonic 3 track like Angel Island Zone, and to have it be a standout Sonic remix, and such a good one, yeah, it really, really stands out amongst the pack. Plays on, of course, the Sonic stage, Green Hill Zone.
Like you said, this is the last one on the list that showed up as a sample on the main list. You have one on your cutting room floor that showed, or 2 on your cutting room floor that showed up on the site. But as for our like main top 10, this is the last one that was a sample on the website. And I remember specifically that Jun Sinoue was not on the composer's list until this song came up, because I think it was a last minute decision to have him do a remix, because the rumors were that Sonic himself was a last minute addition to the game in general.
Yes.
Yeah, this song is super good. That marimba really makes it, I think.
Yeah, it's just carrying over back to the original. A good shout out there. I just love the energy of this one. I have a deep fondness for Jun Sinoue and his music. So this one means a lot. But number 1 was undisputed from both of us, like with a bullet. And if you're a fan of this soundtrack, I bet you know what this one is.
Yeah, like Peter said at the beginning of the list, we both made our own top 10s, and then we made an amalgamated top 10 out of that. The only one we had 100% like this is the same ranking for both lists was number 1, Bramble Blast. Song is gorgeous. It is originally from Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, composed by David Wise. The arrangement specifically was done by Michiko Naruke. It plays on, unfortunately, Rumble Falls.
One of the worst, well, no, 75M is up there. One of the worst stages in Brawl.
Oh, Rumble Falls was bad, though. Rumble Falls was real bad, and it never came back, thank God. But that's the only thing that shackled this song down, is that it was on one of the worst stages in the game. And, but wow, like the pizzicato, all of the violin, all of the acoustic guitar, just everything about the song it's perfect. This is a perfect arrangement. It's so good.
And if you go back to listen to the original song from Donkey Kong Country 2, titled Sticker Brush Symphony,
it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay. I like it. It's a good chill out vibe, but the places that Bramble Blast, this remix, goes is just incredible. So good.
This arrangement, like, turns it up to 11, makes it one of the best official game remixes to ever be made, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It is still one of my favorite songs in Smash, and that is with all of the additions that 3DS, Wii U, and Ultimate have made.
Yeah, that's saying something, and I agree with you. I don't think it would be a stretch to say this song made me love video game music.
I think I'm probably up there in the same boat. Just in general, this song makes me want to pick up violin again. Just with the pizzicato alone, man. Such a good use of that.
It's so special. It's so incredible. I'm really glad that it was undisputed number 1 for both of us.
So, let's get into our cutting room floor tracks. Like Peter said at the start of the show, we both have 3 instead of the usual 2 that we allow ourselves because it's our episode and we get to do what we want. And my first one is not really a remix. It is a original song, which is probably one of the reasons why it didn't hit like the top 10. But it is Flat Zone 2. Like I said, it's an original track based on the Game & Watch games. You can hear it is largely made up of Game & Watch sound effects plus some instrumentation to make it a song. It was composed by Kenichi Okuma. It plays on Flat Zone 2, which is also a bad stage, but God, it's better than Flat Zone 1. Because I actually kind of like Flat Zone 2 for some weird, stupid reason. I don't know. I really like this song because I think it is the best representation of the Game & Watch that you possibly could ever get. I think Flat Zone 1's music was pretty good, but this song knocks it out of the park, I think.
Yeah, just much more pleasant to listen to. I think it's a really good addition on the cutting room floor. Yeah, really enjoyable for honestly sounds that are just a bunch of
Yeah, it's surprisingly catchy for just a bunch of buzzes and beeps. After that, we have what was my first time hearing this song ever. Not now, but back then in 2008. King Dedede's theme. This song was originally from Kirby's Dream Land. It was originally composed by Jun Ishikawa. And once again, arranged by my favorite lady alive, Yoko Shimomura. It plays on the Battleship Halberd stage. And just... man, this song's got a groove to it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. I don't know if I'd put it at like even in my top 5, but I think the song rules. It's great.
Yeah, it's really catchy. You definitely hear Shimomura kind of flexing a little bit here. I almost wondered if there was going to be a Kirby song. Also, kind of shout out to Gourmet Race. Like the hard rock Gourmet Race cover is also really good. But this one is definitely catchy. I also have a Kirby song on my cutting room floor, which we'll get to. But I think this would be my number 2 from the Kirby songs. DDD theme is a really good one here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my number 3 actually would go in my top 5, I'm pretty sure. And this is going to be a surprise to literally everybody, I'm sure. Mona Pizza's song. Originally from WarioWare Twisted, which I've never played because it's a GBA game that requires tilting and stuff, and I don't have that. Composed by Intelligent Systems, no like single composer on there. It was arranged by Takahiro Nishi, and vocals by Christina Pazer, Nate Beheldorf, which I did not know until literally this second, and Andy Hartpence. And it plays on WarioWare Inc., which I think is another stage that holds a very special place in my heart because of how unique it is. This song makes me so happy when I hear it, and I don't know why.
Probably because it's just a bundle of energy, and you can grab a hot slice and take a big bite.
I like Ashley's theme a lot. Mike's song, I wish would stop showing up in my YouTube recommendations.
I think the Mike's theme is actually arranged by Masafumi Takada.
It sure was.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, bud, but you missed the mark on that one. That song is not good.
I don't think he had much to work with, to be fair. Mike good, siki.
Oh, the Japanese version of that song is so much worse than the English version, which is saying something, because the English version is really bad.
My name is Mike, and Mom's gonna get you.
But, like, I think this and the Japanese version of Mona Pizza, just, they have such, like, yeah, you have it. You have it on the ball. It has this great energy to it, and it's so fun to sing. And you can absolutely tell that I'm pretty sure that this is Christina Pazer, I assume, is the like actual voice actress for Mona in the WarioWare games. I'm pretty sure, because this sounds exactly like her. Like, I've played WarioWare since hearing this song for the first time. This is how Mona sounds. It's just, you can tell she's having a great time singing this song. I don't know. I love this song a lot. I also used to think that instead of Pizza Dinosaur, it was saying it's a dollar store. And I don't know why I bring that up, but that's what I thought the song was singing for years until I looked it up and was like, oh no, it's a rival pizza joint. Why did I think it was a dollar store?
Mm-hmm. They would probably sell more pizzas if pizzas were for $1.
Probably.
Mona Pizza. My 3 on the cutting room floor. They're a little more tame than that, but let's see. We got Ocarina of Time medley. I mean, it's a real good medley from The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Songs composed by Koji Kondo, arranged by Michiko Naruke. So, Naruke does this, and does Bramble Blast, and it's like, oh, those are 2 pretty great songs, not gonna lie. And of course, Wild Arms. It kind of makes sense. This plays on Bridge of Eldin. Also not a great stage, but, between that and Pirate Ship, I mean, that was it for Zelda in a nutshell.
I like Pirate Ship a lot more than I like Bridge of Eldin, I'll tell you that much.
No, for sure. For sure. But that's where the Wind Waker songs went. For Ocarina of Time medley, yeah, it's one that, the Dojo website definitely highlighted it a lot. And yeah, really stands out in like my memory of what's on this soundtrack. And I mean, Dark World is probably another standout of what could have easily made the cut here for Zelda songs, but I feel like I remember this one a lot more.
I had not played Ocarina of Time at the time that I first heard this song. Obviously, I appreciate it way more now because now I've heard these songs like in context. And it's just, yeah, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. This is the same person that did Brimble Blast. Michiko Naruke is crazy talented.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. My Kirby song on the cutting room floor is Meta Knight's Revenge. Also one from the Dojo website. This original song comes from Kirby Superstar, so it's composed by Jun Ishikawa, arranged by Noriyuki Iwadare. So this plays on Battleship Halberd as well. Jazz, man, I like jazz. And pop, 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 pop. Like, what a good energy to Meta Knight's theme here. It's so good, so good.
Like, especially that fast-paced jazz, like, feeling. It's really, really good, and it's definitely, I think, the standout of songs on Halberd. Like, it's not my favorite, but when it comes to, like, a song that you put in the background of a fight on Battleship Halberd, like, I think this is the best one in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're getting to that point in the fight with like it's just crazy. It's frenetic. It gets you going. It's exciting.
I think it's between this and the boss medley.
Oh gosh, yeah, another real close contender. Yeah, or Butter Building. Kirby's got some bangers on this soundtrack for sure. But as far as oddly placed songs and great songs just put on weird stages, this is Battle Scene medley, Golden Sun. So this is from Golden Sun, The Lost Age, which is the sequel to the original, composed and arranged by Motoi Sakuraba, and it plays on Norfair?
Not on Castle Siege or a Zelda stage, which you think would fit for Golden Sun more than the alien planet covered in lava
from Metroid. Okay, all right. But no, the song's amazing. It's like, certain songs also like Shin no Nagashima. also stand out as just like, they're from random games and we're going to throw them somewhere. And they sound great. But this one pops up. I haven't played Golden Sun, but makes me think like, oh yeah, that's Motoi Sakuraba doing great work. Also like when his work in Baten Kaitos, the True Mirror, I think, popped up in Smash Wii U 3DS. Or no,
I think
it wasn't
so.
necessarily the True Mirror. It was some song from Baten Kaitos, but that's Sakuraba as well. And it's just like, oh god, he just kills it. It's so good.
I think this arrangement specifically is why I want to play Golden Sun, and I own Golden Sun on my Wii U and have for years, and I have not touched it even once. It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of bummed that Isaac did not make. I was rooting for Isaac because then because of Smash Pieces, that would mean now I have to play Golden Sun. And one day I still will, but. Yeah, this song being on Norfair is really weird, but also just that one part with the dun 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 dun, like it's really tense, and this whole song is rad. This song rules.
So it's so good to highlight all of these songs, honestly. Joe, what will you never forget about this game?
Like I said, it is. It's all about the lead up to it being released. This game, it is no exaggeration to say that the path from this game coming out to this show existing is a straight line. Without Brawl, there would be no original Soundchat. We would not know each other. We would not know a large multitude of our friends. It's incredible that this one game that I don't think either of us enjoy playing very much, might I add. At least I don't. Not nowadays, at least. I did back then. I thought it was great back then. Just how much of a formative effect this one game could have on my entire life. Without this game existing, I would be in a much different place, I feel like. And so I'm eternally grateful to that. And this game is always going to have a special place in my heart, regardless.
Yeah, all of what you said exactly to a T. It's so important, not only to how we've developed as people, our appreciation for video game music, our circle of friends and the growth there, but also getting to talk about games comfortably, getting to talk in front of a microphone, honestly, comfortably, and to come up with a show like Original Soundchat to talk about video game music with the two of us who, like you said, would not have met without this game. And it's a hype cycle, it's excitement therein, and the release of it. So, really special in a whole lot of ways. So that will do it for our 1-year anniversary special for Original Soundchat. You can find me on Twitter at PeteSpeakeasy. Joe is over at The Dobaga. The video version of the show is on the Rhymes with Asia YouTube channel, also at rhymeswithasia.com. But it's that MP3 podcast version that you want, hosted by Anonymous Dinosaur at anondino.squarespace.com. Get those MP3s, though, on podcast services around the globe. Apple Podcasts, Google Play, anywhere that you get your podcasts from. Search for Original Soundchat, including on Spotify. Get your podcast there as well, and we'll be with you as you take us on a run at work, in your car. And when you're at work, we won't tell your boss that you're listening to conversations about great video game soundtracks. Also on Spotify is our big playlist of, if any song that we talk about on the show is on Spotify, we'll add it to the playlist. Tell me, Joe, for a Nintendo first-party game, is Super Smash Bros. Brawl's soundtrack on Spotify?
Well, weirdly enough, it is. No, it's not. But to at least not leave you with nothing, I have two things. First of all, one, this isn't really giving you something. This is a call to action. Even if you don't listen to podcasts on Spotify, subscribe to us on Spotify, if you could. Even if you're not listening to it on that app, any subscription does good for us. Give us a review on any of these pod catchers. Give us a review, give us a rating, whatever that service lets you do. Please do it, because it does help us get our name out there, and it helps us point to stuff. And it also makes me feel good, because Spotify is the first podcatcher we have that has actual analytics that I can read, which is a double-edged sword. But in terms of the playlist itself, I actually went and looked to check, because with our first year done, I wanted to see how big this playlist got. And the answer is 410 tracks, which amounts to 22 hours and 45 minutes of music. That is an hour and 15 minutes short of one full day.
And that's just for the ones that are on Spotify.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing, though. And yes, please do help us with all of that feedback, and also interact with us on social media at Soundchat OST, and leave feedback for us there, and also suggestions of songs and games that you'd like us to cover in the future on the show. And we'll get to those bonus tracks. Best of 2018. It's in the works. Promise. Joe, who are we talking about next week?
I am talking about Mitsuo Tarada.
I'll be talking about Andrew Hale. I still don't know what the theme between those two games will be, but we'll come up with something. It should be fun. All right, to play us out on our 1-year anniversary episode, I found the YouTuber channel Video Game Music Choir. And they're just a choir that does a cappella performances of video game music. And so, of course, they did the Super Smash Bros. Brawl main theme, and I think it's a very fitting way to send us out for this episode. Thank you so much for listening not only to this episode, but continuing to listen to Original Soundchat. We'll see you next time. Take care.